right, my friend, welcome back to another episode here on the Fit Father Project podcast. My name is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi. I'm the founder and CEO here at the Fit Father Project and the host of the Fit Father Project podcast. Today's episode is a really important message. We're going to be talking about some of the amazing benefits of sleep and the amazing dangers of not getting enough sleep that not enough men know about. And if you've been hanging around this podcast, you've been listening to some of the episodes, then you've heard me share the idea that we consider sleep here at the Fit Father Project to be just as foundational as nutrition and more important than exercise. And a lot of guys, when they think about improving their health and fitness, think of exercise as more important. But it couldn't be further from the truth. And in today's episode, I want to prove it to you. I'm going to share some incredible studies of some of the stuff that happens inside your brain and your body when you're sleeping, and some of the real harmful effects that happen when you miss sleep. I know you're going to really love today's episode. So to kick it off, we all know that after we get a great night of sleep, we wake up feeling like $1,000,000. We feel energetic, we feel happy, and we feel like we're ready to go tackle our days. On the flip side, if we've had a bad night of sleep, we wake up, we feel groggy, we feel achy, we feel cranky. And the fact is that all of this has a neurochemical basis happening inside the brain. Because as we're sleeping, a couple amazing things are happening. First off, when we're in the deep sleep phase, what's happening is our body's actually regenerating itself. During deep sleep, our body releases growth hormone, human growth hormone, which regenerates our organs, helps us rebuild muscle tissue, repairs ligaments, and this is key, especially as we age, where we want to make sure we're not accumulating damage from bad living. So deep sleep is key for the body. But what also happens that I think a lot of people don't realize is the brain gets amazing benefits to sleep. In fact, during sleep, the brain literally cleans itself. And this is a new study here that's actually shows in Science Direct, a 2020 study, and I'm going to quote this directly. These are what the researchers said. We have discovered that sleep, not wakefulness, allows removal of waste metabolites from the brain and defines a new and interesting hypothesis for explaining the biological necessity for sleep. Sleep is clearing the brain from potential neurotoxic waste products that accumulate during wakefulness. So let me break this down for you. As you're thinking, as you're listening, as you're going throughout your day, your brain is firing. Neurons are firing, and your brain is consuming. It's this, 5-pound organ that's consuming 20% of your energy. So the amount of energy going on in the brain is tremendous. And as a byproduct of all this metabolism, there is metabolic waste products that just happen. These cells are machines, right? And they're doing all this amazing machinery operation, and stuff builds up as a byproduct of these metabolic processes. Sleep helps clear this out. This is why when people feel like you have brain fog, it's because metabolites are building up in the brain. So brain health is so important because I think if we look at a lot of our parents, what's happening is a lot of people as they age, they become more forgetful, less sharp, memory goes, mood goes. So brain health is central to our longevity and having a good quality of life. So we got to prioritize sleep to help our brain. We got to prioritize sleep to help our body. And especially if we're someone out here who wants to improve our fitness and see results with body composition change, sleep is so important. Whether you want to build muscle or lose weight and lose fat, sleep is huge. Let's talk about weight loss, for example. There's research that shows they took two groups of people, they put them on a weight loss diet. One group slept 8.5 hours. The other group slept 5.5 hours. And the 5.5 hours is the sleep-deprived group. The 8.5 hour is the plenty of sleep group. And what they found is that the group that slept 5.5 hours had a decreased the fraction of weight that they lost from fat by 55%. So both groups lost weight, but the group that didn't sleep well lost 55% decreased amount of fat. And what happens is when we're not sleeping right, our body is in an amped up stress state because sleep shifts the nervous system into this parasympathetic rest, relax mode. But when we miss sleep, it actually shifts the nervous system into the go, 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 constantly stressed mode. Cortisol levels are higher the next day after missing sleep. That's going to raise blood sugar levels. It actually makes us more hungry. After missing a night of sleep, not only are we burning less fat, we have a hunger hormone called ghrelin that is higher after missing sleep. So you get more hungry the next day after missing sleep. Your blood sugar levels are higher and you're burning less fat. And if you want to build muscle and you're training hard, whether you're doing some of our metabolic resistance training workouts, like the Apex 10 workout, you hear all the guys in these interviews and you're on the Fit Father Project podcast talking about, or if you're doing muscle building specific training, like our old school muscle building program, you're not going to be recovering, which means you're going to see worse results. And here's the key idea. You need to put sleep as a foundation of your health plan and know that it's a priority. If you are missing sleep, I'd rather you skip your exercise for the day and get extra sleep. It really is that important. Because if you don't have it this way and you're trying to keep on go, push the pedal on the gas and sacrifice sleep for exercise, what you're doing is you're creating a hormonal environment that's making it harder for you to see results. Again, your brain has more neurotoxins in it. Your hormones are jacked up. Cortisol levels are high. You become more insulin resistant when you miss sleep. Lower sleep is associated with depression, lower mood. This is changing your neurochemicals. This is super important stuff. And this is why in these episodes, when I'm looking at talking about the foundations that you need to focus on as a man in your 40s, 50s, and 60s to live healthier, I consider number one, your mindset. So knowing your why of why this health is important for you, because that's the overall container and frame for all of your health decisions. And then number two is getting adequate sleep and having good nutrition. That's more foundational than exercise. Exercise isn't even number three. It's daily movements number three. Number four are formal workouts. So I want to emphasize this and share this kind of hierarchy of needs, if you will, to emphasize how important sleep truly is. It is absolutely amazing. When we miss sleep, our bodies are in an inflammatory state. Our joints hurt. There's more oxidative stress on our DNA, which we know when we have more oxidative stress on our DNA, it ages us faster. The higher cortisol levels that we get after missing sleep actually breaks collagen in our face and actually leads to more wrinkles and older looking skin. Our body becomes more dehydrated after sleep. Your body stays in a stressed state. And I think this is more important than ever because right now, more people are getting bad sleep and have poor sleep hygiene because we have phones that we're constantly looking at that are blasting this blue light at us that disrupts our natural melatonin production. So what normally happens is when it gets dark at night, the sun goes down, our eyes and our brain perceive that lower amount of light, and we start to secrete a hormone called melatonin. Your brain has something called the pineal gland. It secretes melatonin. And melatonin, what it does is it prepares the body for deeper sleep. It's an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. Works in the brain in a number of ways. It helps promote weight loss as well. And normally this process happens beautifully. But when we're looking at phones, blue light screens, TVs late at night, that wavelength of blue light specifically decreases melatonin production. So it throws off our whole circadian rhythm. Not good. And then if we have irregular bedtimes, our body is all out of whack and we're feeling tired. We need to rely on stimulants like coffee to get ourselves going in the morning. And then we're on this vicious cycle of the body being stressed, not having the right hormonal environment. It's absolutely crazy. Here's another study I looked up in preparation for this podcast that I thought was fascinating, and I'm going to read it directly. It's a new study published online in Neurology, suggests that getting too little sleep could lead to a shrinking brain. The study involved 147 adults with an average age of 54 years. They underwent 2 brain scans, one at the start of the study and one on average of 3.5 years later. Before getting the scans, participants completed a questionnaire about their sleep habits. A total of 35% of the participants met the criteria for poor sleep. They scored an average of 8.5 out of 21 points on the sleep questionnaire. It looked at how long people slept, how long it took them to fall asleep, the use of sleeping medications, and other factors. And the results show that participants with low sleep quality had shrinkage in one part of their frontal cortex. They also had deterioration in 3 other parts of the brain that are involved in reasoning, planning, memory, and problem solving, and the results were more pronounced in people over 60 years old. Missing sleep shrinks your brain. This is important. We are seeing a tremendous rise right now in the incidence of Alzheimer's, dementia, memory problems, forgetfulness. And right now, if you feel like you're not as cognitively sharp as you used to be 10 years ago, and maybe you've seen your parents start to lose some of their memory and their wakefulness, this is something to double down on. Good nutrition and good sleep is protective for your brain health. So is exercise. This is so central because if you continue on a path of not making sleep amazing, it's just going to make everything worse. I promise you that. That is pretty much guaranteed. So we're going to keep this podcast a little shorter, and I want to end with this. Ways to get better sleep. Some simple and practical tips. For guys who have weight to lose, one of the best ways to improve your sleep is to lose weight. What they find is a lot of guys have sleep apnea, and over 50% of sleep apnea, people who are actually having trouble breathing while they sleep, 50% of those guys are overweight. Because when you're overweight, you have more constriction on your breathing throughout night. And so a lot of guys who are overweight end up being on CPAP machines and stuff like this. Losing weight can improve your sleep. So can exercise and good nutrition. So this is a holistic approach, right? We're not just looking at doing one thing. We're looking at upgrading your entire routine. So weight loss is key. Another thing that I think is very foundational is to not eat too late at night. Because what happens is when we're going into this nighttime part of our circadian rhythm later in the day, a couple things happen. Number one, our core temperature actually starts to decrease as we go to bed. The body wants to cool down. It wants to decrease metabolic activity. And when we eat too late at night, it actually puts a lot of digestive stress and gets the system very active. You throw a lot of food at the body and then you try to get it to go to sleep. Your body's like, man, we got work to do. We got to break down and digest this food. And after we eat, it actually raises our core temperature a little bit. There's something called the thermic effect of food. When we eat, food actually increases heat in our bodies. Calories are a measure of heat. So what I think is best is actually having dinner. Let's say it's for you, it's at 5, 6 p.m. Having dinner a little earlier is oftentimes a good idea for people so you can have a fasting period throughout the night where you're not eating, and then stop eating after that point. Maybe you have a little bit of a piece of dark chocolate, some frozen fruit, or a low-calorie ice cream bar or something like that that gives you a little sweet thing. But after that, you brush your teeth and you're done for the day. I recommend 3 hours after your last meal at least, where you have time to digest. Eating too late can cause sleep problems. And if you're someone who regularly has acid reflux, heartburn, indigestion, gas, and bloating, this is something that can help that, as well as cleaning up your nutrition in general. The people who research sleep full-time believe this next thing is probably the single most important thing for having good sleep hygiene. And that's that you have a regular sleep time, which means you go to bed and you get up at the same time every single day, or at least as close to it as possible. It seems that a good circadian rhythm is absolutely key, and that means you have a regular morning and evening routine. So across these past episodes, we've been talking about the importance in the morning of getting up and rehydrating immediately with water. That helps flush out the system. It gets the water in and it helps improve your energy. And while you're doing that, it's a good time to get outside, get a little sunshine in your eyes, because the sunshine actually helps entrain a healthy circadian rhythm, energizes the body, and actually your brain uses sunshine. This is wild, but it's absolutely true. As sunshine hits the eyes, it actually goes into these areas of the brain, one called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and it actually causes the brain to create serotonin, which makes you feel good. It's this feel-good neurotransmitter. And later in the day, the body converts the serotonin into melatonin and secretes that through the pineal gland. So the sunshine in the morning is key. And then at night, we want to get rid of that light. So make sure you're not watching TV late at night. Start reading books instead. And if you are having screens and stuff like this, get some blue blockers, these kind of glasses, etc., that block some of the blue light. They're tinted, they're orange looking. And make sure on your phones, you put a blue blocking setting on there. They have things like on the iPhone, they have night shift mode. And I'm sure they have other options, but get the blue light out at night. We want light in the morning, not as much light at night. We don't want to eat too late. Other things that I think are very helpful is avoiding alcohol and caffeine, especially late in the afternoon. Both of these reliably decrease sleep. Alcohol, though some people feel like it may help them sleep a little bit, it decreases REM sleep, which is a very important kind of sleep for actually memory consolidation. It's a kind of sleep where you're actually dreaming, really not good. And we know that caffeine as well is just jacking up the nervous system. It's getting into the sympathetic go, go, go state when naturally the body's trying to get into this parasympathetic rest and relax state at night. So eliminating those things later in the day, absolutely huge. Other things that are really important is creating a healthy sleep environment. And I think there's a couple things we need to look at. 1, you have a quiet room. 2, you have a dark room. 3, you have a cold room. These are the 3 things. Again, body's trying to decrease its core temperature at night. The cooling effect is really important. This is why a lot of people who exercise very, very late at night and exercise is producing this heat in the body can cause sleep problems. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. If that's your time to get it in, that's fine, but it's certainly suboptimal. And then you want a room that's cool. You want it to be dark. So wearing something like a face mask and maybe some earplugs is really, really effective. It's super effective. Not enough guys do this, but if you can optimize your sleep with these small environmental tweaks, you're going to have greater health, greater longevity, greater brain function. Super, super important. And then I think there's some natural sleep supplements that can help. Getting a nice sleep tea at night. I love a tea called Tulsi Sleep. We'll link it in the show notes. Really, really great tea. Has things like chamomile, lavender, and Tulsi is a herb as well. That's really good for the nervous system. Having a nice little tea at night can help you wind you down. And having supplements like magnesium or melatonin can also be very effective for getting sleep. The key thing is, if you have an intuitive sense right now that this is an area of your life you need to improve, then double down on improving your sleep. Small tweaks here can compound to massive health gains into the future. And if you know you're tired, you know it takes a long time for you to fall asleep, then we need to go deeper on this, and my team and I can help you. We address this in every single one of our programs. If you want to lose weight and lose fat and you join our Fit Father 30X fat loss program, we address sleep foundationally from day number 1. If you're trying to build muscle and you join our old school muscle building program, we address sleep from day number 1. It is that foundational. Small things when it comes to sleep lead to huge gains. And on the flip side, problems with stacking up with sleep and having poor sleep can compound into big health problems. Low sleep is associated with heart disease, with diabetes, metabolic dysregulation, and early death. It is bad, but we have the opportunity to sleep better. So this is the message today. Share this with someone who you think needs to sleep better. Take this into your heart. Improve your sleep. Check the show notes out. We're going to give you links to our programs where we can help you with this. We'll throw links into some other helpful resources to some of these teas and supplements and stuff like this that I think are genuinely helpful. Thanks for being here, my friend. Hope you enjoyed this short episode. And again, in this foundational series we've been doing here on the Fit Father Project podcast, we're talking about the principles surrounding sleep, nutrition, exercise for you as a busy guy in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. It's really key stuff that you really allow this to assimilate. Just bathe in this information. Listen to this podcast constantly. It's going to all start to stack up. You'll understand the bigger picture, and it's going to help shape your habits because you're now surrounded by an environment where my team and I, we have your back. You're a part of our brotherhood. You're in our corner. We got you. We have you. And if you want more inspiration, definitely listen to our interviews with guys who are using our Fit Father Project programs. They're changing their lives, not just with their physiques, not just with their sleep, but with their overall values and their sense of purpose in life. That's what's possible for you. Thanks for being here, my friend. If you haven't checked it out already, make sure you subscribe to the Fit Father Project podcast. We love you. Thanks for being here. We'll see you in future episodes.